Hey, if you clicked on this because you're a subscriber to my channel and this looked worrying, don't worry, nothing's happening to my channel. I would argue this is much more important than that, so I hope you stick around. If you clicked on this because I've linked this to other platforms and you're hoping for some information, then I hope you find what you're looking for. Either way, here's hoping this is enlightening, or at least helpful. Let's talk about Palestine. Let's talk about Hamas does not represent the entirety of Palestine. Let's talk about the numbers. How in the attack on Israel, 1,400 people were killed. But in response, currently, the casualties in Palestine have gone to above 11,000. And that's just the most recent number I could find. About half of those casualties are children. Many of these casualties are children who haven't even had their first birthday. Let's talk about how the bombings Israel has sent towards Palestine have gone to homes, to hospitals, to refugee camps, to areas that were supposed to be safe zones. More than that, more than numbers, let's talk about people. Let's talk about the separated families. Let's talk about how the Israeli Minister of Defense said about Palestine, "We are fighting human animals, and we will act accordingly." Let's talk about how Israeli troops raided Al-Shifa Hospital to find supposed evidence of a terrorist base, and all they claim to have found are a few laid-out guns. Not hostages, not a base. Let's talk about how Israeli troops take pride in crippling protesters. Let's talk about how people protesting for Palestine are often put in danger, even celebrities. Let's talk about how the Israeli government and Zionists have been shown to have unreliable information. Let's talk about how Israel is also funding the genocide in Congo, along with the UK, the USA, and France. Let's talk about how Israel's airstrikes have been referred to by the Israeli government as an ethnic cleansing. Let's talk about how Canary Mission is making a list of students who support Palestine, and this actively puts those students in danger. Let's talk about how Holocaust survivors are saying that what is happening in Palestine is comparable to the Holocaust. Let's talk about how people saying that supporting Palestine is anti-Semitic doesn't work because Jewish people exist in Palestine. Let's talk about how claiming supporting Palestine is homophobic doesn't work because queer people exist in Palestine. Let's talk about how for years Palestinians have been forced off of their homes and land that they owned by Israel. Let's talk about how Gaza has had its networks cut off. Let's talk about how what's happening to Gaza right now is in no way justified. If you ask yourself, hearing this, why you should care, I honestly think my question in return is, why don't you? The Palestinian people are just that. People. To emphasize that, I want to tell you about words of a close friend of mine, who I have and will forever consider a sister. A sister who is living where this is happening. She is so afraid for her friends, for her family, for the people around her. To her, what Israel is doing looms over her and those she cares for and those they care for. And I'm constantly afraid that at any moment, connection will cut off. She has supported me through so much, and the way I see it, I would, at the very least, not be as good a circumstance as I am in today without her. Sharing my work with you. Having pride in who I am. I cannot even imagine that my fear compares to her, though. Yesterday, when I checked in with her, she showed me a photo of just a small part of the devastation occurring. Her words were, look, this is what they're doing to us. So I ask you to think about that. What if a person you had known for years, your found family, a person you cherish, what if they were in Gaza right now? And with that in mind, I beg of you, do not look away. Do not act as if the death of every Palestinian is already determined. Do not act as if the death of every person in Gaza is already determined. The culture they have, the connections they carry, they are so warm. A ceasefire should be the bare minimum to strive for. I have linked sources for every single thing I have talked about, in case you would like to learn more, because At the end of the day, I'm just a white person. Read on history. Listen to what the people witnessing and living this are telling you. Know the government officials and brands that have sponsored the weapons of Israel or opposed the ceasefire. Research more than this. Along with the sources, I have also linked various ways you can help. Petitions, numbers to call, emails you can make. Every voice is important. You can act. And I truly, truly hope that you do. Thank you.